Yo, what's poppin' everybody? This is Sable594. Welcome back to another edition of the Top 8 Most Expensive Card series. Today we're looking at the 5th Generation 3 set. It is EX Hidden Legends. This is kind of a more underrated set from the era, I would like to say. And many of the cards you'll see, they won't be as crazy as previous sets, like in the $1,000 range, the most expensive cards here. But I have a soft spot for this set because it includes my favorite supporter card of all time, Steven's Advice, and it does have a lot of cool cards and cool artworks. So without further ado, let's get this party started. The rules are going to be the same as the other editions of this video that I make. We're looking at the highest grade of PSA. That's how I collect the data and get the information for the prizes here. We're trying to look at the most recent sale so we can be as accurate as possible. So 2023, but some cards, these types of cards, they don't sell often or all the time. So I might have cards from 2022 or 2021 for their most recent sale. And of course, since this is the top 8 most expensive cards from the set, we're looking at the highest prices these cards can fetch. Alright, so for number 8, we have a regular holographic card, Machamp from EX Hidden Legends, and the most recent sale was in March 2023. Not the most recent, but you can say somewhat recent. I mean, it's not last year or 2021, and it went for $294.14, precise amount. Now, I do want to mention that if it wasn't for that $1.14, this would have been a tie with Vileplume EX, actually. That one sold for $293 at around, well, I don't remember if it's around the same time, but I'm pretty sure it was 2023 as well. So this holographic Machamp is actually a good card too. It looks cool. The holo technology on it, the bubbles look really nice. And it is actually a strong card. It was a good card back in the day, thanks to Overzealous. If your opponent just had any EX Pokemon down, both of its attacks did 30 more damage. And this is pretty good. All of a sudden it turns the 40 for 2 attack, which it would be average, to 70 for 2, which is really nice. And that attack also ignores all sorts of effects and resistance and everything. It's not going to hit for weakness either, unfortunately, but it ignores everything else as well. So that was a nice attack. And then Cross Chop 60 for 4. That's not too great, but you get to flip a coin. And if you get the heads, you do 90 for 4. So if Overzealous is active as well, that's 120 for 4. So all of a sudden, this does become a very strong attack. And besides that, I mean, the stats were excellent too. 120 HP was the best you could ask for back then. Standard, you know, Psychic weakness, double retreat. I guess you could say it's standard for this type of Pokemon too. So pretty good card as an EX counter and cool holographic card for sure as well. Securing its spot at number 8. Now for number 7, we have our first Pokemon EX from Hidden Legends. It's going to be Kyogre EX, the original print. And it went for $308.03. Once again in 2023 in June this time. And unfortunately, unlike Machamp, this card is probably just here because, you know, it's the original Kyogre collectible. And that's about it. I mean, it's an EX. When it comes to playability, I wouldn't say it's very good. It does a similar thing with Groudon, basically. It's super tidal wave attack. It just does 50 for 3. And then if you put water energies from your hand back in your deck, you can do 10 extra for each. That's not so good. I mean, I guess if you have a type of support Pokemon down, like maybe Porygon 2, where you can, you know, thin your hand and then draw a bunch of cards back anyway, then maybe you can make this sort of work. Perhaps if you can do 80 for 3 every time, it's going to be okay. But the Pokebody really isn't that good. It's just a mark of antiquity. It's shared by Rayquaza and Groudon as well. Some of those EXs where they won't be able to attack, you can't attack, it becomes a stalemate. And that's basically it. The artwork on it too, I'm not the biggest fan of. I do own a few copies of this card, surprisingly, in ungraded form, and I have it in a PSA form as well, PSA 7. What would you know about that? Number 7 on the list, and I have it in PSA 7 as well. I got it at a good price, so I mean, it's a cool card. It's the original Kyogre. It's not like it's ugly, but I think artwork wise, there's other Kyogre cards I like better, because Kyogre really does get a bunch of beautiful cards. It's a majestic, you know, aquatic Pokemon. It's beautiful in a way. So gets its spot at number 7. Not too bad, but we got more expensive cards going forward. So at number 6 we have Wigglytuff EX. This card sold in 2023 in January, start of the year basically, for $310. Now this, once again, you could say it's a maybe semi-good or semi-bad card. It's a stage 1 with 100 HP, so you can say it's not that impressive compared to Kyogre basic with just 100 HP. But do the wave attack is definitely more useful. You do 30 for 3, and then 30 damage plus 10 more damage for each of your benched Pokemon. So if you have a full bench, this is going to max out at 80 for 3, which isn't too bad. You can use any energy to power this up as well, so not bad. And then the Sleepy Song attack. Each defending Pokemon is now asleep. This is if you play like the double battle thing with 2 active Pokemon, then it's gonna make both of your opponent's Pokemon asleep. But I mean, it's Wigglytuff is a shiny holographic card for sure, and it is sort of cool. It's a bit, maybe you could say, surprising. It's ahead of some like Kyogre here, but that's the case. A 5-month difference in sales, I don't think it will make that much difference, and it's only, I mean, just $2 more expensive at the end of the day. But this is Wigglytuff at number 6. Then we got Groudon EX at number 5, very similar to Kyogre once again. Mark of Antiquity Pokebody. Rock Tumble is actually a better attack, doing 30 for 2, and then ignores resistance, I'd say. And then Crush and Mantle, very similar to what Kyogre does once again. In this case, you discard energies or fighting energies, I think, and then you do 10 extra. So if you dump a few, you can do a lot of damage. Now, these cards, you know, this wasn't very competitive once again, if I remember right, but you can do something with it with Porygon 2, perhaps, and you can actually just pair this with a Magneton as well if you want to. Since you're discarding energies, you can just get them back from the discard pile this way. So I'd say it's more useful than Kyogre by a little bit, but they're very similar. This one I think might look cooler. Maybe, I don't know, I really wanted to buy this card, but I sort of missed my opportunity. Maybe now it's cheaper at PSA 9 and stuff, but it sold for $329.19 in 2023, once again in October. So this is very, very recent. This was pretty much last month when you think about it. So this is the type of money these cards are going for right now. Not too bad for PSA 10. So Groudon, I mean, I don't know what else to say. Even though this card is cool, I think I would say Groudon from Crystal Guardians, the EX in that set, I think it looks cooler. And it might be a bit stronger too, but I've already told you guys, you can sort of make a deck with this card if you really want to, with a Porygon 2 and a Magneton perhaps. Just keep discard energies and do a lot of damage. Moving on to number 4, this is another card that looks very, very cool, but isn't very useful. It is Metagross EX, the original one, once again from this set. You got that Steven theme, super cool. 150 HP, the double weakness, big retreat, attacks are sort of it's a bit sad because the artwork on this is cooler than the one in EX Power Keepers. I like that one too, but I think this is just more basic in a way, but cooler, just more grounded. It's just chilling there, straight up looking at you. But the attacks are just, they don't do it for me, unfortunately. And the double weakness is just completely unnecessary if it's not going to be that strong. But money-wise, this is number 4, 2023, once again, February this time, the most recent sale, $340. That's not bad. I own this in PSA 9 form, but when I got it for pretty much, after you do the calculations with the currency conversions and shit. I got this from Australia, PSA 8 actually, not even 9. 200, so I paid a lot more money than possibly what it would be today for sure when I got mine. But yeah, I would say like if you're collecting from this set and you want to have the key cards for it, you know, the trademark cards, Metagross EX would be a card from this set you gotta get. I mean, it's Steven's main Pokemon. It's kind of the face for this set in a way. We had a couple of Metagrosses in this set. I think at least maybe 2 or 3, or maybe 2. I think the other one that I'm thinking of is from EX Deoxys. But there was definitely a Metagross theme in this set, that's for sure. And a Steven theme with Steven's advice. So it is definitely a trademark card from Hidden Legends. Now, going on to the top trio, for number 3 we have Regice EX. Most recent sale was actually in 2022, but in November, so close to 2023, this card sold for $378. Now, once again, this set, it's got that sort of, Steven Stone theme, you could say. If you read the manga, you'll understand that he has more to do with the Regis and shit. But the point is that you get the Regi trio in EX form. And I mean, the Pokédex are basically close to Metagross anyway, when you think about it. So these cards were not that good. They got like, they all of them have like one kind of good thing about them. And then everything else about them is ass. And that sort of ruined the card. 90 HP for a basic EX, it's on the lower side for sure. I mean, especially because it has a 2 retreat. That's not so good. The Poke Body, Crystal Body, it's just gonna ignore effects of attacks. And that's about it. I mean, it's an okay effect, but we need something more to carry this. And the attack, it's not really anything special either. 60 for 3. Playability wise, not very impressive, but collectability wise, this is Regice EX, the original one. And it's one of those special sort of EX cards that's kind of a secret rare in a way. It has this crystal shattering sort of holofold technology on it, almost like a broken glass. This was only shared by a few other cards from the era. Like I believe maybe the only other cards that do this are the legendary birds from Fire and Leaf Green, Moltres, Zapdos, and Articuno. And the only other time this sort of holo technology was implemented was in DP, I believe, with some of the Rotom cards and Rise and Rivals. So there's definitely a uniqueness aspect for it, that's for sure, that all of these 3 Regis have here. So this is number 3. Now for number 2, the second most expensive card here is actually Jirachi, the regular holo one from the set that also comes in a theme deck. The, I guess, theme starter structure deck for Hidden Legends. You had one where it was Jirachi, and I think the other one was for Celebi? Maybe. I don't remember, but one I know is with Jirachi, and it had this card in. So 2021, we're in that range where this was where the Pokemon boom happened and everything was overpriced and hyped up. So I think this doesn't really reflect the price of the card today, but this is the most recent sale. Math is math at the end of the day. I had to put this at number 2 to be objective. But, I mean, if this sold in 2023, I don't know if it would be in the 400 range, maybe in the 300 range, perhaps. But it is another iconic card from the set, you could say. Also comes from the theme deck. It is a beautiful holographic card. I own a couple of these. And it's unique in the sense that one of the things Hidden Legends had is the double type Pokemon that weren't really Delta species or anything else fancy, just regular Pokemon with dual type. Metal and Psychic in this case, and the Make-A-Wish attack on it was actually useful too, helping you evolve your Pokemon. But when we got the EX Deoxys Jirachi, that was much better for sure. So 2021, September, most recent sale, $437, second most expensive card. Don't really got much else to add. I mean, these sort of cards though, like the dual type Psychic Metal Pokemon here, Jirachi and Metagross, they do look really cool. So trust me, this is a pretty card to own in real life too. And now to go for number 1, drum roll please. It is going to be, I guess you could say maybe unsurprisingly or surprisingly, number 1 is Ninetales EX, with a recent sale too. This is in May 2023. And it sold for $662.88. Not bad. I mean, definitely the most expensive card by far in this set. But you guys can see that this wasn't a very explosive set. Like, we had cards in the 2000 and 3000 range last time with Team Magma versus Team Aqua, and even the other sets, they had more explosive cards. But this set, I mean, I guess you could say it's a cheap set to collect if you want to get a bunch of PSA 10s or just collect everything from it. It's not too bad, and I do think it's kind of underrated. There are a lot of cool cards from here. But for Ninetales EX, I mean, it's a Fire EX Pokemon with 90 HP. Fire Blast is the best thing about it, 100 for 4, then you discard a Fire Energy. Now obviously you compare this with something like Blaziken from the era with Firestarter, but there was all sorts of Fire Pokemon and Dragon Pokemon like Rayquaza you could have used with Blaziken that basically outshined this card. I mean, maybe I'd put it ahead than Macargo, maybe Camerupt, I don't know, but it does do a lot of damage. 100 is the range where it's gonna kill everything that's not a stage 2 basically, and that's not too bad. You only discard 1 energy as well, so it's not bad. I mean, it's just what your preference is and how you're gonna use it, I suppose. At least you can make some use of it, but ultimately something like Rayquaza EX would be better. That's why it saw more play. These were the 8 most expensive cards from EX Hidden Legends. I suppose it's easy to note the other omissions from the Regi trio. Both Regirock and Registeel EX didn't make it in the top 8 list. I think maybe if it was top 10, one of those might have made it. I don't remember, but I looked at the prices. They've had recent sales, but they were in the like $260, $280 sort of dollar range. Maybe, I don't know, maybe if Regice got sold recently in 2023, it'd be lower than that too, but it was the more expensive of those guys. But they would be the key cards you want to collect from this set, you know, sharing the same style of holo like Regice EX. And the box topper Groudon, that's a cool card that I was a bit surprised didn't make it here. Dark Celebi, most recent sale for that was $260, I think. It wasn't bad, but it was definitely less than even Machamp. But no doubt, this set does have a bunch of sleeper cards, a bunch of underrated cards, I would say. Alright guys, that's it for EX Hidden Legends. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Subscribe to the channel, leave a like, share it with your friends, and I'll see you guys next time. What up?